Hey, before I get started on this video, I'd just like to say I've been having a very hard time deciding what to make videos about. I have some good ideas, but every day I keep swapping, I should do this one, I should do this one. So I decided on this one for today, but I can't decide between two ideas for the next video. The first one is I just do the combo section of the big Ed guide, where it'll just be a pretty straightforward video of these are good combos, you should use them in matches. It'll be a ton of combos because I know a lot of Ed combos, all optimal stuff, and it'll just be like, oh, this is this combo, this is this combo, you know. Or I can make more of like a video, a kind of general footsies video talking about, it won't necessarily be Ed specific, but I'll be using Ed for the examples, obviously, as my character. But it'll just be talking about kind of the meta game of footsies in general, and like spacing, whiff punishing, pokes, counter pokes, stuff like that. So let me know in the comments which one you'd prefer to see. They'll both definitely get made, you know, sooner rather than later, but I really can't decide which one to go for first. But anyway, into this video, I'm going to be talking about largely Charged Snatcher. I think this move, Charged Snatcher, it is probably the most complex special move in the entire game that I can think of anyway. There's so much going on with this move. I'm not really going to be talking about combos, although I'll briefly cover a couple of things to do with combos. But to me, the meat of this video is the section where I'm going to be talking about using this move on block and, you know, the kind of fake turn stealing kind of pressure and all the nuances to using this move in those situations. So if you're only going to watch one part of this video, I recommend you skip to that part. It'll be towards the end. But I'm going to be covering a lot of stuff to do with this move because it is really, you know, complicated for a special move, and it's actually really cool. The funny thing about this move is before we knew anything too much about Ed coming into this game, I would always say, I really don't care if Snatcher doesn't come back, because in 5, you just held it or charged it. People could just reactively jump in on you and punish it. You couldn't do anything about it. You know, even if you let it go early and they got hit, it did like no damage, and it was just, you know, Air Snatcher was cool for combos and stuff like that and hard reads, but I just didn't care for this. I thought it was pretty gimmicky in 5. But in this game, like, you can dash cancel it, you can cancel it off specials into dash cancel. There's like so much going on. It's like, it's one of the main things that makes me really love this character, how he plays in this game. But anyway, let's get into it. Alright. First, let's just talk about conversions off of snatches, right? As I'm sure you all know, you can just do your normal kind of what you would do off an OD snatcher here, right? That's pretty standard. If you're in range to do this, you can't go wrong with stuff like this, right? But further out, as I'm sure you know, this will whiff. So what are your options further out? You have two main options meatless. One is just something like that, you know. You can also do a delayed heavy blitz if you want the Oki. You want to delay it because you won't get the full heavy blitz if you do it too early. And then you get your proper Oki off that after a kill rush. But what else can you do? For 2 bars, you can do this, which is great damage for 2 bars, almost 30%. You don't really get Oki off it. You could do different enders for Oki, but that's an idea, right? And there's ways to extend this with super. You can go into super. Level 3, you know. You can even, you know, this will combo as well. You have options. And the thing is, this will work at every range, even super close. You can even do super close. This will still work. This is a great damage option. And the other thing about this combo is, if you look at the advantage on knockdown, it is plus 42, and that is exactly what you want for a safe jump. That's a safe jump timing right there. So that's kind of the basics on ground combos. I don't want this video to be about combos, but I thought I'd just put a couple of conversions in there. But I still think it's important to talk about this. Alright. A lot of people I see haven't really optimized air snatcher combos. And I'm just going to quickly show a couple of things you can do. First, the obvious, everyone knows. Meatless, you can just do something like this, right? Or you can do, like, you know, heavy upper. And a lot of people know about this one as well, is if you want to spend a bar, you can do that, right? Also an option. But what I see a lot of people don't know is this. You can do this for 2 bars. And that's really good damage for meter right there. And you might think, oh, well, maybe I have to grab them really high to get that conversion. The answer is not really. Oops, as you can see, I grabbed him pretty low to the ground there. It will virtually always work, if not always work. So I think it's a really good idea to just optimize those combos, because it's very cheap meter to spend for what you get back from it, as long as you've got the meter to spare. And the last thing I'll talk about when it comes to kind of combo things, I didn't want to talk about uncharged flickers in this video, but I will anyway, just briefly, because I think this is a really useful thing that a lot of people don't know about. You can single hit confirm a flicker on a lot of buttons that you shouldn't really be able to, because of how it works uniquely. Let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to put the dummy on a random block. I'm going to be talking about this button primarily. If you do this button, and they can DI between that gap right there. Between this and the flicker, there's a gap, which means they can DI, they can reversal. And now that I have it set on random block, let me show you. This is a 16 frame cancel, by the way. It's a 16 frame hit confirm window, which is very hard off any other special, but it's different for flicker. As you can see, I can pretty easily hit confirm that. And the reason is, well, the way I do it is, when you hold flicker, as if you know you're going to charge it, and you look to see if they get hit or they block, and if you see they get hit, you just let it go and it hits, it'll combo. And if you see them block, you just backsway cancel it. And the window to do this is a lot bigger than 16 frames, and it's because you're already doing the special, the flicker, like you've already cancelled into flicker, so it gives you a lot more time to reactively single hit confirm it. If I was doing something like this, that's a 16 frame hit confirm, and because of the hit stun on this button, it gives you enough time to be able to do it. You can also do it off this button quite easily, but the difference is this is a true block string, so you don't necessarily have to do it there, although it still has its uses. This button, you can also do it, but there's no real reason to be poking with this button into flicker. It's primarily these two buttons. This is too hard to react. The hit stun isn't good enough. It's too hard. Maybe if you get a counter hit or a punish counter. Same with this. It's very hard to single hit confirm this button as well, unfortunately. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about combos. So we'll move on to the next section. Alright, now let's briefly talk about Charge Snatcher against Fireballs. As a lot of you would know, Charge Snatcher beats Fireballs. That much is obvious. One thing that is interesting is that let's just set Akuma to do a multi-hitting Fireball. Note that this is a regular Fireball. Whoops, I messed that up. It's not a OD Fireball. That's important. As you can see, while I don't punish Akuma, this kills the Fireball 2 hits. And this will work against, I'm sure you know DJ. DJ has his double hitting Fireball. This will kill that too. It kills Blanket Dolls as well, believe it or not. So that's really important to know when you're playing those matchups, so you know how to protect yourself. But one thing is, even with OD, a Snatcher will not go through. Oops, I didn't even let it go in time. As you can see, gets punished. OD does not work either. Oops, too early. But yeah, these are important things to know about using Charge Snatcher against Fireball characters, because a lot of them can see you do that as well, and then they'll drive rush behind and combo off the Fireball. Even Akuma can do that, even though his Fireball knocks down. Just important things to know for matchups, but Charge Flickers are really good against Fireball zoning. It's just about finding the right place and time to do it and not being too obvious about it. But I have a whole other video about that, so I recommend checking that one out. Okay, real quick, I'll go over this situation as well because it's kind of interesting. How many times has this happened to you? Oh, damn. Someone just happens to DI into your block string, heavy punch into flicker. What options do you have here, right? The first one is you can do this, which is a hard reaction, but if you're looking for it, it's possible. And this works as well for like if you're charging a flicker and they try to DI into it, which is quite cool. It's very hard to execute. It's quite a quick cancel, but it's actually quite possible. Like that, right? And obviously you wouldn't be reacting that fast to a DI. I knew it was coming. But like, if you're holding the flicker and you're really looking for that, that's an option as well, right? But there is one more option that might not be as obvious, and it's if you do OD flicker, you can actually cancel into level 2, which is a weird cancel, but it works. Let me try pull that off. Oops, wrong move, sorry. Damn. You know what, let's just do it like this. That's more of what I was going for, right? I didn't really demonstrate that well, but I'm just trying to demonstrate that you can cancel OD flicker, even on block, into level 2, and that will beat DI with the right timing, although you can get hit in the startup because it's not invincible. Okay, now we're getting a bit more into the meat of things. I will talk about doing Snatcher on block and this situation right here, whether they have or haven't parried it, they've been pulled to point blank. As you can see, this is +4. +4. That means you can press this and it will win clean. You can trade with this if you really want, but like this is a frame trap right here. There's a 3-frame gap, so there's no buttons quick enough to contest it, right? And then you can even hit confirm it into this if you want. But what are your options off of this kind of mix-up situation for you? The obvious answers is, like I said, you can do a Meaty. You can even do a Meaty jab sequence. You get up to 3 jabs if you pull them in point blank. Catch them low, like that. You can also do a throw. That's an answer too. Or even, I like to do this. A tick throw. This jab is obviously -1, but it's quite hard to reactively press there. And if they really think you're going to jab tick throw and they try to mash and press to contest, because it's not real technically, then they're going to get caught by a frame trap like this, and you'll be able to hit confirm that. That's kind of the mind game at work there if they get to that layer. What about shimmying? That is one of the first important things that we'll talk about. Let's have Akuma. I will put this on a bit of a delay as well, just to kind of simulate a real player teching, because people don't tech frame 0. They usually do a slightly delayed tech. So Akuma is going to throw tech, right? What can I do to beat this? Let's say I try to shimmy him. I just pull him in, I'm +4, I walk backwards. He throws me still. I can't walk backwards in time. I'm too close to do a proper shimmy. How can I shimmy this guy? I believe one answer is... well, that, obviously, as you see, didn't really work either. If they tech too fast, they'll block in time. So your main answer, if you really have a read on a throw, is this. Something like this, right? You can usually get away with more like this. That's an answer too. But if you have a read on the throw in that situation, you backdash, I find, is the best way to punish. But what I really want to talk about with this situation when it comes to this is, let me just set the dummy first. Special moves, yep. It's the situation, it's quite hard to bait a reversal off of this move. And what do I mean by that? Because I can't walk back shimmy out of throw range, I can't walk out of throw range, I'm kind of in a mix-up myself in a sense. As you can see, I kind of think, oh, maybe he's gonna, maybe he's gonna throw me. And so I have to decide if I think he's gonna throw me, then I have to tech as well, or do a Meaty. But if I think he's gonna reversal, do like an ODDP, then I'm thinking I can't tech, because if I tech, I could get hit by the DP, like I am now. Look. So it's kind of a really awkward situation for Ed there. So what can you do to, deal with this? Ideally, you want a situation where you can do a real shimmy so that you can both walk out of the way of a throw while also blocking a reversal. What can you do here other than hard committing to a backdash to beat the throw, or, one thing that I find is really useful is, remember how this is +4. Pulling in like this is +4, right? Your jab is 4 frames. If you, what people call it, they call it jailing. If you jail them with the jab, their reversal won't come out, and it'll also put you at a spacing where you won't be plus anymore, you'll be -1 from the jab, but you'll be able to both block and walk out of throw range, right? So look, see how I didn't get hit by the upper, the dragon punch, even though I have him set to reversal dragon punch on block? It's because that's a true combo, or a true block string, as you'd call it. And this sets me up with spacing. where I can now not be afraid of a throw or a reversal. I can cover both those options, as you'll see here. But the thing is, it's not a perfect situation for you. Like I said, you're -1 now. So technically your kind of pressure is not real. And also, a lot of people, when they get pulled in here, they'll mash DP here if that's their plan. But by the time they block this jab, a lot of the times they'll already have stopped mashing their reversal. Not every time. Some people will just mash the whole time and be like, oh, as soon as I can, the DP will come out. But a lot of people, they'll be mashing reversal, they'll block this, and then they'll stop. So you won't get anything. But that's a part of this kind of mix-up situation that a lot of people don't know about, is this jab is super useful in that situation. Okay, time to talk about the corner Meaty Snatcher situation. I'm sure a lot of you already know about this. I've even talked about it before in another video, so I won't go into too much detail. But this was found like even before the character came out. Off of forward throw, Ed can do a Meaty Snatcher. And let's talk about how useful that is. I'll first say, most of the time, I recommend not doing this. And it's good that I have already talked about the situations you get off a Snatcher. But as I said already, you can't really shimmy off of a Snatcher without giving up the kind of realness of your mix-up. Whereas if you just throw them and forward dash, look, I'm +13. I can shimmy easily here. I can do whatever I want off of this situation. So in my opinion, this situation is better, but it is really good to mix up what you're doing. Sometimes I'll have someone in the corner, I'll throw them, I'll like, you know, throw them again, and then we're in this mind game where they're thinking, oh, he's gonna forward dash, he's gonna either throw me again or try to shimmy me or do a meaty. You know, they're starting to really focus in on the mind game of what's happening here, and that's when I find is a really good time to throw this in, because it can catch people off guard. They're not gonna get hit necessarily, but they're thinking so much of this about what they're gonna do in this mix-up again that they're not ready for this one. And because things are kind of different when they get pulled into +4, it can throw off their kind of thinking and make them make mistakes. But what is, as you know, what is the counterplay to this? Let's have Akuma. As I'm sure you guys already know, this will deal with most reversals very safely, and even drive impact, you can DI back. Again, safe from that. Let's do one more. I know I've shown this before, but let's just, you know, for people that haven't seen. Wake up level 1. Because this is counted as a projectile, it also beats level 1s. So in that sense, you know, you're throwing them off. And they can parry, but you can obviously either hold your parry so until they let go, then you do it, or if they want to play that mind game, if you wait for them to drive rush at you, or you can even take a risk and go in and throw them expecting it, you know, this, like this, right? If you expect the parry, which will get you good damage back into the same situation. But yeah, I find that it's really good to add to the mind games and the kind of uncomfortableness of the situation when you're already mixing them. Or if you've been doing this for like the last couple times you've got them in the corner, you've done something like this, and you know, you're always doing this, which you should default to. Throwing this spanner in the works every now and then, I find, is really effective. The next thing I'd like to talk about are Meaty Snatches against Wake Up, not from that corner situation. and why people do them. You see a lot of good players do this fairly often, I would say. What's the reasoning? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will just quickly show you. I'm going to use anti-air as an example, but there are a lot of knockdowns. Most knockdowns you can do this. You know, why would you do Meaty Snatcher here? Instead of just walking forward, doing the throw, blah, blah, blah. There are a lot of reasons why to do this. It's usually free drive chip, first of all. And as you know, as I just showed, oops, not block reversal. Wake up reversal, please. Thank you. This not gonna work. You know, depending on the spacing, this can also not work. That worked there, but you get the idea. If I do like a... See, that grabbed weird like that because he ran out of invincibility and I hadn't been hit, so the Snatcher still got him. And obviously, drive impact, if you time it right, you know, you're safe in the same ways you're safe from the corner mix-up, because it's essentially the same thing, right? But even, let's say, when a reversal is in range to hit you, you have options still. Like, they can see this, I'm going to react. See? And you really lose nothing by doing this, even if they don't do anything. You know, you give up your mix-up potential, but you're safe, right? If you read that, if you think they're going to try wake up react to what you're doing with a reversal, you know, early back sway, punish. It's really useful. But yeah, it helps with drive chip and things like that. Oh, and one thing I forgot, but I'll add it in quickly. A very common answer to this is obviously to wake up parry. You'll see people wake up parry a lot. This is also another part of the mix-up, is at this far, you know, people are going to be like, in the corner, wake up parry, and that they're a lot more tuned into the kind of mix-up that's happening here. But when you hit them this far back in the screen, a lot of them be like, you know, I'll wake up parry it so I don't get pulled in. What could possibly go wrong? This is where you can, obviously, if you have the read, you do this. And even, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it reactively against good players because they'll turn their parry into a drive rush and punish you. But if you think they're going to wake up parry, you can go for a read like this. And it's way more effective in these situations than it is off of the corner situation. Because the corner situation, they're looking for you to do things like that. Or they're not ready for you to be doing a meaty flicker to begin with. Because it's not such a fixed situation mid-screen. So yeah, I just thought I'd quickly add that in as well. Just some quick notes when you're playing against Burnout. First of all, Snatchers do a lot of health chip against Burnout. So you can get some really good sequences doing this, right? You can do something like, you know, you get a lot. But another thing, I know this happens to everyone, so I thought this would be good to put in. How many times have you had someone in Burnout and you've got a Snatcher? Oh, you know, that is a feels bad situation. And then they throw you punish counter and it's just over. You know what I mean? To avoid this situation, just be mindful. If you really want the strike throw mix, doing this now, that's +3 now because they're in Burnout, right? So if you want to not be manual timing your throws and so you don't, you know, accidentally get that, just, you know, go for a tick throw shimmy situation. Very simple. I should talk about Ed's, well, his Snatcher in relation to Burnout pressure. I find this quite hard to talk about. It's a bit funny, but I'll try find some kind of like basis to go off of, and we'll go from there. The first thing you need to know is that I have Akuma set to reversal 4 frame, right? If I try to get a fully charged Snatcher here, too close, you know, he can jab me out in time, even in Burnout. But, you know, a bit further out, I can pull him in because he's not going to have anything that can reach that's going to stop this, right? Now, what can I do from this situation? Let's say I've pulled Akuma in. What can I do here to continue my pressure? You have good like looping options here that are semi-real, but very hard to deal with. Because I'm +8, I can simply go for another stand heavy punch here. 10 frame move, +8. Akuma has to take this unless he level 3s. Or level 1, you know, reversals is what I mean to say. But he doesn't have meter to do a dragon punch. So what can I do here? If I think Akuma is going to press to kind of interrupt my charge, I could simply do an OD, you know? And if he pressed, his jab will get hit there. And if he didn't press, I pull him back into the same situation. I'm +8 again. From here, you can obviously do the standard kind of, you know, mix-up stuff. I can do something like this, right? But a lot of the time, I find instead of trying to push them too far, like just across the screen into the corner for the stun, I find it's a bit difficult to do that because he doesn't have any good kind of loops to push them away. But he has these kind of pressure mix-ups, which is what I'm describing now, where you can try and make them make a mistake. As you know, this is +8. From here, I can also go low and try catch them low there. Or I can even just, you know, throw. It's all about getting to this situation and sometimes, you know, being a bit belligerent and doing semi-real stuff like this. Sorry, let me redo that. Doing semi-real stuff like this, you know, and keeping the pressure going. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do this. I'll do something like this, you know. And then that's when you start to mix in. You can start mixing in throws and shimmies off of these situations because you are super plus, and they're either going to, you know, be checking every now and then because they're expecting a throw, or they're not, in which case you throw them, right? And you're doing a lot of chip off of this in general. Let me set up, I'll show you like the kind of chip you can do. Like if you have full meter, once you get around 20%, you are in kill range. This is Akuma, so it's going to look a bit better than it is, but you'll see what I mean. You can do something like, you know, let me redo that, sorry. You know, you can something like this. Look at all the chip this does. That's like almost, you know, 15-20% just in chip. And that wasn't that optimized really. But you get the idea. If you have trouble really getting them into the corner for the DI, you know, stun kind of mind games, trying to achieve that, anywhere on the screen you can play these, you know, these little games where you just keep pulling them back in for plus frames, trying to catch them out, trying to interrupt it with a OD Snatcher or shimmying off of it. Like, you can shimmy at any point or throw at any point in these situations because you're just so plus, and then you can get back into the same situation until they're not in Burnout. You know, baiting reversals like level 1s and all that business. Take advantage of Snatcher, especially when they're in Burnout, because you can just be so belligerent and just really give them a hard time and force them to just constantly be guessing, all the while you're really, you know, you're pretty safe other than the reversal, you know, level 1 to level 3. Because even if they do jab their way out of it or hit you out of it, because they're in Burnout, they're not going to do that much damage because they don't have drive meter. Especially against characters like Luke and that, unless they're comboing into level 3. Getting opened up, it's not that bad against someone in Burnout. Okay, now we get into the true core of the video. This is really what I made the video for, talking about this stuff here. And honestly, I don't even know where to begin. The first thing I should say is everyone you play, you should be testing them with normals into Snatcher. I don't mean you should always be like, oh, just always do this, like, but you need to find out what you can get away with and what you can't. Even if you just do this and see how they respond, you know what I mean? And then based off those responses, you kind of get into more specifics. This move, like I said already, is so complicated in neutral. And you'll see here, like doing a Snatcher here, charging a Snatcher here is like so different. It's such a different situation than charging it here. Like here, very different situations, even though the spacing is not that different. So how do I even explain this? Let's get into what Akuma can do in some situations. Let's turn this off. Let's set up block reversals. Drive impact. Alright. Drive impact is a common answer to charging a Snatcher, right? If I charge a Snatcher here, I'm going to get hit. Even if I try to bait it, I'm going to get hit here. If I let it rock, I'm going to get hit as well. What can I do in this situation? The answer is, well, firstly, that's not that bad. You will get wall splat by that if you're near the corner, but you know, you're getting out pretty scot-free compared to actually eating a DI in that situation. But the answer is you want to space yourself a bit better. See, that was too close. See that? That's what I mean about these like small distances really making a difference. And then you can, you know, you get a massive punish off of this. This goes for all your buttons, you know. That was too late on the cancel. Another thing you can do, even if you do want to press buttons here, another thing you can do is this. Because people will just react to any cancel. They're not seeing, oh, that's a flicker. Times a DI. They're seeing this button get cancelled, and they're just assuming, because they want to react in time, they're assuming, oh, he's cancelled into flicker, or he's cancelled into something that I can DI. So one answer is, if you're close and you expect them to counter DI, just backsway and see what they do. Worst case scenario in this is you do it and they do nothing and you're back to neutral. You know, you're not going to get punished for going for like a read like this. And that's what I really like about flicker in this game. I really like you can make so many specific different reads on what your opponent is going to do, and you have these options to deal with it that are usually pretty great, you know, punishes. But at the same time, you're not like overcommitting yourself. It's not like you're playing a grappler where your read is, oh, I can command grab him here. But if you're wrong, you're going to eat like a full jump in combo. Another good and popular counterplay to charging Snatcher, especially off of normals, is this. As you can see, if Akuma would press the button there, he would have punished me really bad. This, in my opinion, is one of the safer options people have for dealing with this. But Ed also has his own counterplay to the counterplay. If you have a super hard read, you can obviously do that. But I mean, realistically, that's not going to happen very often. But you don't risk much by going for something like that. What else can Ed do? Again, this is where this move is kind of complex. It depends on the spacing. If I do it, you know, like here, I'll still get jump punished for backswaying this, right? But further out, there's a lot of ranges you can kind of get away from it in time. But you do have an answer to cover everything, and the answer is forward kill rush. Forward kill rush actually low profiles in general, but against jump-ins, it's a very good move. So if you're holding here, you see them, this will get you out of jail every time from a jump-in, and it's super useful. It's quite hard to get used to being looking for this, but if you see a jump, like I'll still do this quite often and get punished because, you know, it's just a natural instinct to kind of move away from the danger. But this is actually far more reliable and will get you out of jail on reaction. Okay, what other counterplay is there for charging snatchers, especially against block? Sorry, off of block normals is what I meant to say. One thing players can do is, and it's very simple, a button, right? Look, I'm charging, he can press something, this hits me, alright? What answers does Ed have to this? What counterplay is there to the counterplay? The first thing is you can simply do your thing, you know, let go of your flicker early to counter hit them. That's one simple counterplay if you expect them to press buttons. Another good option, and this is a thing I could make like an hours and hours long video about, really, but I'll keep it brief, is you can space yourself well when you predict what kind of normals you expect them to press. So if I think Akuma is going to try to press crouching medium kick in this example, I can space it so that he'll whiff, and this becomes a spacing trap. That's when I talk about this move having a lot of complexity, this is one of the things I mean. This is a amazing spacing trap tool. And the important thing, well, one of the important things to note about this is when you're holding flicker and when you let it go, that let go is, it's 5 frames from when you let go to when it hits. So it's essentially a 5 frame, you're reacting with a 5 frame button. That's how I would say to put it. So this is an amazing whiff punishment tool if you're already charging. That's very fast and very good reward. So as you can see, that's how it works as a spacing trap. So what could Akuma do? He's like, oh damn, my crashing medium kick's not reaching sometimes and it's hard to gauge the distance. What can Akuma do here instead? For Akuma specifically, and other characters, you want to use a longer reaching button, but the thing is, the bigger the startup of your button, the more risk there is to using it, because you have to react quicker and you open yourself up more to getting hit earlier based on what Ed will do. But I think this is a great button for Akuma to use, right? Big reward, he goes really far forward, you know, so even if I space super far, oh man, he's hitting me really bad. What can I do to deal with this other than what I've already shown? One thing, actually, believe it or not, is simply backsway. Maybe I'm looking for a DI, you know, who knows? But if I predict the standing heavy kick, this gets me out of the way, right? Which is crazy. But as I was saying before, let's just put some delay on this. Let's say he takes 5 frames to do his heavy kick, right? Because, you know, he's kind of reacting to seeing me do this now. He doesn't just want to press it no matter what. He's trying to react, right? He could be too late in this case. You see what I mean? So it's not that clean of a counterplay for the opponent, depending on what button they use. And Ed always has options to get around this. Maybe I just did this, and then he's going to get hit by that, right? You never know. But this is another popular counterplay to flicker, is the buttons, and I think it's a very good option as well. But as you can see, Ed has his own counterplay to this if you're expecting it, and there are risks. It's not as safe as the jump option that I just have shown, but it has potentially better rewards, as Ed has good options to safely get away from jumps on reaction. And of course, you will have people that I'm more than happy to just do this, right? And that's a very safe option, right? Parry is a very safe option. It'll often stop them from getting pulled in for more pressure. And what can it do about this? You already know. You can do this, right? You can... This is... I wouldn't be doing this just, you know, as a guess. But you'll find when you play people a lot and you pay attention to how they're responding to your flickers, if you notice someone likes to just play it safe and try to parry a lot, it doesn't hurt to go for a read like this every now and then when you think it'll definitely work, or you're pretty sure it will work. It's good reward. You can get punished if, you know, they didn't parry and then you just kill rush into a combo, but it's a good option. Alright, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. Remember, tell me in the comments again if what kind of video I should do next, whether I should do like a more general footsies kind of video, or if you want me to just do the like combo part of the big guide I'm making, where I'll just do all the optimal and useful combos that I'm aware of, which is a lot. I know a lot of combos on this character. If you want me to just make a pretty standard combo video where I go over, oh, this is all the combos you should be using, let me know. If you want me to do more a video kind of like this, where I just talk about kind of general footsies like whiff punishing, pokes, counter pokes, stuff like that, and the kind of mind games there, also let me know in the comments. And yeah, follow me on Twitter, join the Discord. That's it. I'll see you in the next video.